If I could give just one piece of advice to young people who want to change their lives, it would be this. Pay attention to what you do when no one is watching. Your free time is not just a break between obligations. It is a reflection of your future. When I was a teacher, I noticed that the students who excelled were not necessarily the smartest, but the ones who used every minute to learn something new. Later, when I started my entrepreneurial journey, I saw that the same principle applied to business. If you want to know where you'll be in 5 years, look at what you're doing today, right now. I was never a business genius. In fact, I was rejected from almost everything I tried in the beginning. But while others gave up, I used my free time to study, observe, and test new ideas. I remember learning English on my own, by going to hotels and talking to tourists. I didn't have expensive books or private tutors, but I had determination. What you do in those unimportant moments defines who you will become in the future. Many people wait for the big moment in life, that perfect opportunity, that dream job, that investor who will change everything. But what I've learned is that success does not come from a single moment. It is built through small, daily actions. If you spend your free time just watching TV, scrolling through social media, or complaining about difficulties, then you're wasting the opportunity to shape your own destiny. No one can change your life for you. That decision is yours. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that the only way to achieve great results is through daily progress. When we built Alibaba, we started in a small apartment with no money, no support, no guarantees. But we never stopped moving forward. The secret? Daily discipline and productive habits. What do you do when no one is watching? Are you investing in your growth or just killing time? Remember, time is the most valuable asset you have, and how you use it determines who you will become. What are you doing now that will take you to the next level? When I was young, I never imagined that one day I would build a global empire. In fact, I failed school exams, got rejected from dozens of jobs, even at KFC in my city. But if there's one thing I've learned in life, it's that destiny is not decided by big moments, but by small daily actions. While most people waste their free time on fleeting distractions, I always invested in learning, observing, and doing something productive, no matter how small. In the beginning, we had no money, no technology, no connections, but we had something more valuable: consistency and long-term vision. Many believe success happens overnight, but I always say, time is the best investor there is. The small choices you make today determine where you'll be in the next 5, 10, or 20 years. In my youth, I spent hours learning English simply by talking to tourists in my city. That habit later helped me see opportunities in the global market and build Alibaba. No matter your current situation, if you use your free minutes wisely, your future can be transformed. People ask me, "Jack, what's the secret to success?" I smile and say, "What do you do when no one is watching?" When no one believed in the internet in China, I spent nights studying it. When there were no investors, I convinced my team that we were building something great. The truth is that success is not one big leap, but a sequence of small, strategic steps. You may not see it now, but every minute invested in your growth is paving the way for an incredible destiny. Many look at the top of the mountain and feel discouraged. But the secret is not to focus on the mountain, it's to take the first step. If I had given up after my first rejections, I would never have created one of the biggest companies in the world. The question I have for you is, what are you doing right now, at this very moment, to build the future you desire? If not now, when? If not you, who? People love to attribute success to luck. They say, "Oh, he was in the right place at the right time." But I can guarantee, luck didn't bring me here. Before Alibaba, I was rejected more times than I can count. I had no money, no influence, and no prestigious degree. But what I did have were habits that kept me on the right path. Small daily routines that, over time, created massive results. Success is not a lottery ticket. It is a series of consistent actions. If you want to know where you'll be in 5 years, look at your routine today. What you do daily builds your future, even if you don't realize it. I learned English on my own, practicing every day. Later, when I started studying the internet, I read articles, observed trends, and asked questions. It wasn't one big move that changed my life. It was the sum of small choices repeated over time. What you repeat daily defines who you will become. People often give up because they don't see immediate progress. But I learned that the most impressive results take time to appear. Think of a farmer. He plants seeds, cares for the soil, waters them daily. But nothing happens right away. One day, almost without warning, the sprouts begin to appear. Success works the same way. If you cultivate productive habits and keep moving forward, growth is inevitable.
Another essential lesson is discipline. In the early days of Alibaba, we faced crises, doubts, and a lack of resources. Many would have given up, but we persisted. We created a learning culture where every small mistake was an opportunity for adjustment. It's easy to stay motivated at the beginning, but habits are what sustain you during tough times. Those who have discipline always outperform those who rely only on motivation. The question is, what habits are you cultivating now? You can wait for something magical to happen, or you can take control of your life. Small actions may not seem important at the moment, but when added up over the years, they define who you become. Are you ready to build your own success?
If there's one thing that has always guided me, it's the ability to dream big. From the very beginning of Alibaba, I never wanted to create just a company. I wanted to transform global commerce. When I started, most people thought the internet was just a passing trend. They told me, "Jack, this will never work in China." But I saw beyond the present. I saw a future where small businesses could sell to the entire world with just a few clicks. The question is not what exists today, but what can be created tomorrow. The biggest limitation people face is not a lack of money, opportunities, or knowledge. It's the way they see the world. If you believe you can only grow to a certain point, that will be your reality. But if you dare to expand your vision, you'll start seeing solutions where others see problems. Some of the most groundbreaking innovations in history came from people who refused to accept limits. The world doesn't need more people who settle. It needs visionaries who challenge what is possible. One of the greatest mistakes people make is thinking small because they fear failure. But I've learned that real failure is not making mistakes. It's limiting your own dreams. If your goal doesn't scare you, it's probably not big enough. When we started Alibaba, we could have just built a small e-commerce platform. But why stop there? We asked ourselves, what if we could create an entire ecosystem where anyone could sell, buy, and grow? That mindset led us to expand, innovate, and impact millions of lives. The future belongs to those who look beyond the obvious. If you want to find opportunities, stop looking at what already exists and start asking, what hasn't been done yet? What can I create that will change people's lives? Think about Elon Musk. When people said electric cars were unrealistic, he built Tesla. Or Jeff Bezos, who transformed how the world shops online. Every major breakthrough started as an idea that seemed impossible. So, I'll ask you again, are you thinking big enough? The world doesn't need more people who play it safe. It needs dreamers who dare to turn the impossible into reality. What action can you take today to push the limits of what you think is possible? If there is one thing that separates successful people from those who stay stuck in the same place, it's the way they think. While many see limitations, those who succeed see opportunities. When I started my journey, I had no money, no powerful connections, and no prestigious degree. But I had something even more valuable: the belief that opportunities are limitless for those willing to find them. The difference between those who thrive and those who remain stagnant is not luck, it's mindset. People with a limited mindset say, "I don't have the resources, so I can't do anything." But those who think like the wealthy ask, "How can I use what I have to create something bigger?" When I founded Alibaba, we didn't have investors, cutting-edge technology, or a large team. But we had a clear purpose and the determination to help small businesses succeed. That belief in abundance is what allowed us to build something massive. Wealth begins in the mind before it ever shows up in reality. Another mistake I see often is the belief that for someone to win, someone else must lose. But that's not how the world works. Success is not a zero-sum game. Those with a scarcity mindset think opportunities are limited, that money is finite, and that only a few can succeed. But those who think with abundance understand that the more value you create, the more doors will open. That was the philosophy behind Alibaba. If we helped millions of small businesses grow, we would naturally grow alongside them. A scarcity mindset traps people in fear: fear of sharing knowledge, fear of investing in new ideas, fear of trying and failing. But I've always believed that fear is just a sign that you're about to grow. If you want to succeed, you must change your relationship with risk and start seeing challenges as opportunities in disguise. What seems impossible today may become your greatest advantage tomorrow. The way you think about the world determines your possibilities. If you believe there are no chances for you, you're right. If you believe the world is full of opportunities, you're also right. The choice is yours. What will you do with it? Success is not built in front of an audience. It happens in the quiet moments when no one is watching, when no one is expecting anything from you. I always tell people that the difference between those who succeed and those who remain average is not talent, intelligence, or even luck. It's what they choose to do in their unseen hours. While some waste time, others invest it. And that small difference, compounded over months and years, creates entirely different destinies. When I was young, I wasn't the smartest student. I failed my exams multiple times and was rejected from countless jobs. But during my free time, I didn't complain. I worked. I practiced English every day by speaking with foreign tourists. I studied businesses, watched trends, and trained my mind to see opportunities. No one told me to do it. No one was watching. But I knew that what I did in private would eventually show in public. The problem is that most people only work hard when someone is watching. They put in effort when there's an immediate reward, but when left alone, they fall into distractions. The truth is, your biggest competitor is not someone else. It's your habits when no one is looking. Do you scroll through your phone mindlessly, or do you use that time to learn something valuable? Do you waste your evenings, or do you build skills that will serve you in the future? If you study the most successful people, you'll notice a pattern. They mastered the art of self-discipline. They didn't rely on motivation. Instead, they created routines that pushed them forward even when no one was around to check on them. That's how greatness is built. Not in a single lucky break, but in the small, invisible actions repeated over and over again. So I'll ask you, what are you doing when no one is watching? Your future is being built right now, in the choices you make when no one is there to hold you accountable. Are you setting yourself up for success, or are you wasting the time that could change your life? Many people believe that success comes from intelligence, luck, or the right connections. But if there's one lesson my life has taught me, it's this: persistence is more important than talent. I wasn't the best student in school. I failed my university entrance exams multiple times. I wasn't the most employable candidate. I was rejected from 30 different jobs, including KFC, where I was the only applicant out of 24 who didn't get hired. I even applied to Harvard 10 times, and each time they said no. But I never let rejection define me. The only way to truly fail is to give up. When I started Alibaba, we had no money, no government support, and no experience in technology. Investors told us our idea wouldn't work. Banks refused to lend us money. We were laughed at by competitors. Most people would have quit, but I believed that if we kept pushing forward, step by step, we would eventually succeed. And that's exactly what happened. Success is not about never falling. It's about getting back up every single time. People often ask me, Jack, what's the secret to staying persistent? The truth is, persistence comes from a strong why. If you only chase success for money, you'll give up when things get tough. But if you have a purpose bigger than yourself, nothing can stop you. For me, it was about helping small businesses thrive in the digital world. That purpose was stronger than any rejection, and it kept me moving forward, even in the darkest times. When your mission is clear, quitting is not an option. The road to success is never straight. It's filled with obstacles, failures, and moments of doubt. But I've learned that every failure carries a lesson, and every rejection is just another step towards something greater. If I had given up after my first rejection, my second, or my 10th, there would be no Alibaba today. The people who win are not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who refuse to stop. So I'll ask you, how do you respond to failure? Do you see it as the end, or do you use it as fuel to keep going? Your ability to persist will determine everything. No matter how many times you fall, as long as you get back up, success is only a matter of time. It's easy to dream. Everyone has big ideas, ambitions, and goals they hope to achieve someday, but very few people take action. The world is full of dreamers, but only a handful become doers. The difference? Execution. If you spend your time waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect opportunity, you will stay exactly where you are. Success doesn't come from perfect conditions. It comes from starting, even when you're unprepared. When I founded Alibaba, I had no experience running a company, no background in technology, and no investors eager to support me. If I had waited until I was ready, Alibaba wouldn't exist today. Instead, I focused on moving forward with what I had. The biggest mistake most people make is believing that they need everything figured out before they start. But the truth is, you learn by doing. The first step is always the hardest, but it's also the most important. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't intelligence or luck. It's the ability to act despite fear. Most people fail not because they lack talent, but because they lack action. They hesitate, overthink, and let self-doubt keep them trapped in the same place for years. But those who take action, even in uncertainty, eventually figure things out along the way. I always tell young people, if you have a dream, protect it. But more importantly, act on it. Many of my friends had great ideas, some even better than Alibaba, but they were too afraid to take the leap. Years later, they're still waiting for the right time while the world moves forward. If you don't take action on your dreams, someone else will. So ask yourself, are you just dreaming or are you doing? Do you have a vision but no execution? The gap between where you are now and where you want to be is not a lack of ideas. It's a lack of action. Will you let fear hold you back, or will you take the first step today? Leadership isn't something you are born with. It's something you develop through habits, mindset, and experience. When I started Alibaba, I had no idea how to be a CEO. In fact, my venture capitalist once told me, Jack, you should step down as CEO because you don't know how to be one. And he was right. I didn't. But instead of quitting, I focused on developing the habits that would make me a great leader. Success isn't about knowing everything. It's about learning, adapting, and growing every single day. The first habit that changed my life was continuous learning. I was a school teacher before I became an entrepreneur, but I never stopped being a student. I didn't have a background in business, so I learned from those who did. I read books, observed successful leaders, and surrounded myself with smart, talented people. The most successful people never stop learning, because the moment you stop growing, you start falling behind. Whether it's reading, listening to mentors, or staying curious about the world, learning is the foundation of leadership. The second habit was empowering others. Many people think leadership is about being the smartest person in the room. But I quickly realized that the best leaders don't compete. They empower. I always hired people who were smarter than me and gave them the freedom to make decisions. If you want to build something great, you cannot do it alone. Leadership is not about control. It's about trust, vision, and inspiring people to work toward a common goal. The third habit was persistence in uncertainty. Every great leader faces challenges: rejection, criticism, failure. But what separates great leaders from the rest is their ability to keep going despite obstacles. In Alibaba's early days, we faced countless setbacks. We had no funding, no experience, and no certainty of success. But I told my team, we will succeed, not because we are the best, but because we never give up. That resilience made all the difference. So, if you want to be a great leader, ask yourself, are you constantly learning? Are you empowering others? Are you persistent in the face of challenges? Leadership is not about a title. It's about action. And the habits you build today will determine the leader you become tomorrow. Challenges will come. It's not a matter of if, but when. The real question is, how will you respond? Most people panic when things go wrong. They complain, blame circumstances, or freeze in fear. But the most successful people don't just survive crises. They use them as stepping stones to something greater. Your mindset determines whether a crisis destroys you or makes you stronger. I've faced more crises than I can count. In Alibaba's early days, we ran out of money multiple times. Banks refused to give us loans. Investors laughed at our vision. Even after we became successful, we faced government scrutiny, market crashes, and fierce competition. But through every challenge, I reminded my team, crisis is an opportunity in disguise. The biggest breakthroughs often come from the biggest obstacles, if you know how to navigate them. The first step to a crisis-proof mindset is embracing uncertainty. The world is changing faster than ever, and those who cling to the past get left behind. Instead of fearing change, successful people adapt to it. When I saw the potential of the internet, China barely had access to it. But I didn't wait for the perfect conditions. I built Alibaba with what we had, knowing the world would evolve. The ability to adapt is more valuable than any degree or skill. The second step is staying optimistic under pressure. Many people lose their vision when things get tough. But I've learned that when times are hard, that's when you need to dream bigger. During Alibaba's worst moments, I didn't tell my team, let's survive. I told them, let's lead. Your mindset in difficult moments determines your future. Winners don't see problems. They see possibilities. The third step is learning from every failure. When something goes wrong, most people ask, why did this happen to me? But the right question is, what can I learn from this? Every crisis contains a lesson that can make you stronger for the future. Success is not avoiding problems. It's learning how to turn them into advantages. So the next time you face a crisis, ask yourself, are you panicking or are you seeing the opportunity within the problem? The strongest businesses, leaders, and ideas are forged in difficult times. Will you break under pressure, or will you rise above it? Many people believe that success happens overnight. They look at billionaires, industry leaders, and global icons and assume they were born lucky or had everything handed to them. But the truth is, every great success story starts small, sometimes with nothing at all. If you dream of building something great, you don't need millions of dollars, powerful connections, or a perfect plan. You just need to take the first step. When I started Alibaba, we had almost nothing. No funding, no support, and no experience in e-commerce. We worked from a small apartment, fueled only by our vision. Many people told me that we were crazy. How could a group of inexperienced entrepreneurs take on global giants? But we didn't focus on the size of the challenge. We focused on what we could do each day. Step by step, mistake by mistake, lesson by lesson, we grew. That's how every great achievement is built. Not in leaps, but in daily progress. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for the perfect opportunity. They tell themselves they'll start when they have more money, more time, more experience. But there is no perfect moment. If I had waited for everything to be ideal, Alibaba wouldn't exist today. The most successful people understand that progress is better than perfection. Every day you delay is a day you could be building something valuable. Another key lesson is that small, consistent actions lead to massive results. Imagine planting a tree. At first, you see nothing. Weeks pass, and there's still no visible progress. But underground, roots are forming, setting the foundation for future growth. Your efforts work the same way. Most people give up because they don't see immediate results. But those who persist end up creating something unshakable. So, ask yourself, what small steps are you taking today that will shape your future? You don't need to have it all figured out. Just take action, stay consistent, and trust that every effort is building something greater than you can imagine. Greatness is not created in a single moment. It's built one step at a time. The world is changing faster than ever. Technology, business, and industries are evolving at lightning speed. What you know today may become irrelevant tomorrow. That's why the most important skill you can develop is not coding, finance, or marketing. It's the ability to learn, adapt, and grow continuously. The moment you stop learning, you start falling behind. Before I became an entrepreneur, I was an English teacher. I didn't know anything about running a business, let alone an e-commerce empire. But I understood one thing. If I kept learning, I could figure it out. I read books, studied global trends, asked questions, and surrounded myself with smart people. I wasn't the smartest person in the room, but I made sure I was always learning from those who were. Many people think education ends when they leave school. But the truth is, school teaches you how to pass exams. Life teaches you how to succeed. What really matters is how much effort you put into expanding your mind every single day. The world's most successful people, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, are all lifelong learners. They read, observe, and seek new ideas constantly. One of the biggest mistakes I see young people make is thinking that their degree is enough. A diploma might open a door, but what keeps you growing is your hunger for knowledge. In the future, the most valuable skills will not be technical abilities alone. It will be creativity, emotional intelligence, problem solving, and adaptability. Machines can replace routine tasks, but they cannot replace human ingenuity and lifelong curiosity. So I'll ask you, what are you learning today that will make you better tomorrow? Are you expanding your mind, or are you stuck in outdated knowledge? The world belongs to those who never stop learning. If you commit to lifelong education, No challenge will ever be too big for you. Most people wait for opportunities to come to them. They hope for the right job, the right investment, or the right timing. But I've learned that opportunities don't appear on their own. You have to create them. The most successful people in the world don't sit back and wait. They see potential where others see problems. They take action when others hesitate. When I started Alibaba, China had almost no internet infrastructure. People told me e-commerce wouldn't work. The country didn't have reliable payment systems, logistics, or online trust. But instead of seeing these as reasons to quit, I saw them as gaps to fill. If the system didn't exist, why not build it? That's what separates ordinary thinkers from visionaries. The ability to see not what is, but what could be. One of the biggest misconceptions people have is that opportunities are scarce. They're not. They are everywhere, hiding in everyday challenges. When you hear someone say, "This is a problem," train your mind to ask, "How can this be solved?" Every successful business in history started by solving a problem. The bigger the problem, the bigger the opportunity. The truth is, most people are too focused on obstacles to recognize possibilities. They say, "I don't have the money, I don't have the skills, I don't have the right connections." But the people who succeed aren't the ones with perfect conditions. They're the ones who take action anyway. Your mindset will either hold you back or push you forward. The moment you start looking for possibilities instead of excuses, your life will change. So let me ask you, are you waiting for opportunities or are you creating them? The world is full of unsolved problems, untapped markets, and unmet needs. If you start seeing obstacles as opportunities, you will never run out of chances to succeed. The question is, will you take the first step? Time is the one resource we all have equally. Rich or poor, successful or struggling, everyone gets the same 24 hours in a day. The difference between those who thrive and those who don't is how they use their time. Some people waste hours on distractions, while others turn every moment into an investment in their future. If you want to build wealth, you must first learn to manage your time. Early in my career, I didn't have money, influence, or connections, but I had time, and I used it wisely. I spent my days learning, testing ideas, and developing skills. I studied English by talking to tourists. I observed global trends. I worked on Alibaba even when no one believed in it. The time that most people spend complaining, waiting, or hesitating, I spent building. That's how success is created, not overnight, but minute by minute, decision by decision. Many people say they don't have time to pursue their dreams, but let's be honest. The problem is not a lack of time, but a lack of priority. The average person spends hours scrolling through social media, watching TV, or procrastinating. What if you used even half of that time to develop a skill, start a side business, or work on your goals? Success isn't about having more hours. It's about making every hour count. The most successful people in the world understand the compounding effect of time. Small efforts may not seem like much today, but when repeated consistently, they create exponential results. Think of learning a new language, building a business, or improving a skill. If you dedicate even 1 hour a day, in a year, you'll be far ahead of where you started. But if you waste that time, a year will pass, and nothing will have changed. So I'll ask you, are you using time, or is time using you? Every minute is a chance to grow, create, and build a future of abundance. Wealth isn't just about money. It's about how wisely you invest your time. What will you do with your next 24 hours? Time is the most valuable resource you have. You can lose money and earn it back, but you can never recover lost time. The difference between successful people and everyone else isn't intelligence, luck, or connections. It's how they use their time. Are you investing it, or are you wasting it? When I was young, I didn't have money, experience, or special advantages, but I had time, and I used it wisely. While others were wasting hours on distractions, I was learning English by talking to tourists. While others were complaining about a lack of opportunities, I was studying businesses and global markets. I didn't wait for the perfect moment. I used every free minute to prepare for my future. Many people say, "I don't have time." But that's not true. Everyone has the same 24 hours. The difference is how you spend them. If you spend your time scrolling through social media, watching endless entertainment, and avoiding challenges, don't be surprised if your future looks the same as your present. Time is either your greatest asset or your greatest excuse. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that small, consistent actions with your time create massive results. If you spend 30 minutes a day learning a skill, in a year, you'll be an expert. If you spend an hour a day building something, in a few years, you'll have an empire. But if you waste those hours, nothing changes. What you do with your time today determines the opportunities you'll have tomorrow. So, I'll ask you, are you spending time or are you investing it? The future is not decided by luck. It's built by the small choices you make every day. You don't need more time. You need to use the time you have more wisely. How will you start using your minutes to create the life you want? Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 10. Success is not about quick wins. It's about playing the long game. The most powerful changes don't happen overnight. They happen through small, consistent efforts compounded over time. If you are willing to think long-term, you will achieve what most people never will. When I started Alibaba, I didn't expect success in 1 or 2 years. I told my team, let's not focus on today. Let's build something that will last for decades. Many businesses fail because they chase quick profits instead of focusing on long-term value. But the companies, careers, and ideas that stand the test of time are built with patience, strategy, and persistence. The key is to start today. If you spend the next 10 years learning, building, and growing, where will you be? Most people don't like to think that far ahead because they want results now. But that's why they stay stuck. The people who succeed don't ask, how can I get rich fast? They ask, what small steps can I take every day that will create success over time? Think of a bamboo tree. For years you see nothing. It's just underground, growing roots. Then suddenly, it shoots up meters high in a short time. That's how long-term success works. Small actions today may not show immediate results, but one day, they will explode into something massive. The problem is, most people quit before they reach that point. So ask yourself, what small habits can you start today that will transform your life in 10 years? Are you planting the right seeds, or are you just waiting for luck? The future is shaped by those who take action now. 10 years will pass anyway. The question is, will you use them wisely? Many people believe success happens by chance. They think the right people were simply lucky, in the right place at the right time. But I can tell you from experience, success is never accidental. It is intentional. It comes from making conscious decisions, following strong principles, and taking action even when no one else believes in you. Before I built Alibaba, I was rejected from almost everything I tried. Jobs, universities, investments. Every door seemed to close in my face. But I didn't let those rejections define me. I made a choice. If no one would open a door for me, I would build my own. That's what success truly is. Not waiting for opportunities, but creating them. The biggest difference between those who succeed and those who don't is their mindset. Some people wait for permission to move forward, while others take action, even without guarantees. You don't need luck. You need courage. The world doesn't reward those who sit and wait. It rewards those who step forward, take risks, and learn from every mistake. I always tell young people, if you don't design your own life, someone else will do it for you. Many people drift through life, reacting to circumstances instead of shaping their own future. But the people who build extraordinary lives are those who decide, this is what I want, and I will do whatever it takes to get there. So I ask you, are you leaving your future to chance, or are you taking control? Success is not a random event. It's a result of choices, habits, and persistence. You don't have to wait for luck to find you. You can create your own path. The question is, are you ready to take the first step? Fear stops more people than failure ever will. It's not a lack of opportunity, intelligence, or resources that holds most people back. It's fear. Fear of making mistakes, fear of looking foolish, fear of trying and failing. But here's the truth. Fear only controls you if you let it. The most successful people in the world are not fearless. They simply act despite their fear. When I started Alibaba, I was terrified. I had no experience in business, no money, and no connections. I knew there was a high chance I would fail, but I also knew that if I never tried, I would regret it for the rest of my life. So I asked myself, what's the worst that could happen? If I failed, I would learn. If I lost everything, I could start again. But if I never tried, I would always wonder what could have been. Most people let fear paralyze them. They wait until they feel ready, but readiness never comes. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's taking action despite fear. If you wait until you have no doubts, you will wait forever. The only way to gain confidence is by doing the very thing you're afraid of. One of the greatest lessons I've learned is that fear disappears when you focus on learning. Every failure teaches you something valuable. Every mistake brings you closer to success. The difference between winners and losers is not that winners never fail. It's that they refuse to let fear stop them. The more you step outside your comfort zone, the stronger you become. So let me ask you, what fear is holding you back? Are you letting doubt control your decisions, or are you using it as motivation to grow? Your dreams are on the other side of fear. The question is, will you take the leap? Most people are afraid of making mistakes. They think failure is something to avoid at all costs. But let me tell you a secret. Every mistake I made brought me closer to success. Without them, there would be no Alibaba. The reality is, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. The only real failure is quitting. I have failed more times than I can count. I was rejected from jobs, dozens of them. I was turned down by investors, hundreds of them. Even when I started Alibaba, I made mistake after mistake. I hired the wrong people, made bad business decisions, and lost money. But every time I asked myself, what can I learn from this? Instead of letting mistakes break me, I used them as lessons. One of my biggest mistakes was assuming that investors understood my vision. In the early days of Alibaba, I thought funding would be easy to secure. I believed that if I explained my passion and ideas, people would believe in them. But I was wrong. Investor after investor told me Alibaba would never work. I learned the hard way that not everyone will see your vision, but that doesn't mean you're wrong. Another major mistake was thinking that having the best product was enough. It's not. Many companies fail not because their products are bad, but because they don't understand their customers. In the beginning, I focused too much on technology and too little on user experience. The lesson? Success is not just about what you create. It's about how well you serve people. So I ask you, are you afraid of making mistakes, or are you using them as stepping stones? If you avoid failure, you avoid growth. The people who succeed are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who learn, adjust, and keep moving forward. What mistake will you turn into an opportunity today? Success is never a straight road. It is full of obstacles, failures, and moments where everything seems to be falling apart. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is one thing: resilience. It's not about never facing problems. It's about how you respond when those problems come. Will you give up, or will you push forward? I have faced rejection more times than I can count. I was rejected from Harvard 10 times. I applied for jobs, 30 different ones, and got turned down every single time. When I started Alibaba, I was told over and over again that it wouldn't work. But every rejection, every failure made me stronger. Instead of quitting, I used each setback as fuel to keep going. Resilience is the ability to keep standing even after you've fallen 100 times. The key to resilience is having a strong purpose. If you're only chasing money, you will give up when things get hard. But if you have a bigger mission, nothing will stop you. When we built Alibaba, we weren't just trying to make money. We wanted to help small businesses compete globally. That purpose gave us the strength to keep going, even when no one believed in us. Another secret to resilience is learning how to handle failure. Most people take failure personally. They see it as proof that they are not good enough. But the truth is, failure is just feedback. It's telling you what doesn't work so that you can find what does. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who learn from every failure and come back even stronger. So, let me ask you, how do you handle setbacks? Do you let them break you? Or do you use them as fuel to grow? Life will test you. Business will test you. But resilience is the skill that will carry you through. No matter how many times you fall, if you keep getting back up, success is inevitable.
Jack Ma's speech was nothing short of life-changing. He didn't just share advice. He challenged everything we think we know about success. While most people believe that wealth, achievement, and greatness come from talent or luck, Jack Ma revealed a powerful truth. Success is built in the moments when no one is watching. Throughout his career, Jack Ma has faced countless rejections, failures, and setbacks. He was told no more times than most people could handle. But instead of giving up, he used every free minute to prepare for his future. He understood what most people ignore. The way you spend your time today determines the life you will have tomorrow. And this is what separates successful people from those who stay stuck in the same place. In this speech, Jack Ma explained why the small habits you build in your free time shape your destiny. While others waste hours on distractions, successful people invest that time into learning, growing, and building. He talked about the abundance mindset, how the wealthiest and most powerful people don't see limitations but opportunities. If you want to succeed, you must train your mind to think bigger than your current situation. But perhaps the most powerful lesson was this: resilience matters more than intelligence. Jack Ma has failed more times than most people would dare to try. He wasn't the smartest in his class. He wasn't the best candidate for the jobs he applied for. But he refused to quit. He shared how persistence, not talent, is the real secret to building something great. Your ability to keep moving forward when things go wrong is what determines whether you will succeed. If you've ever felt like you're not talented enough, not rich enough, or not lucky enough to succeed, this message is for you. Because Jack Ma proves that success isn't about what you start with. It's about what you do with what you have. The question is, are you ready to stop waiting and start building your future? Now that you know the truth about success, the question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Jack Ma has shown us that the way you spend your time, the way you think about opportunities, and the way you handle failure will determine your future. Success is not given. It is built one small action at a time. Are you spending your free time wisely, or are you letting it slip away? Are you waiting for the perfect opportunity, or are you creating it? Are you letting fear control you? Or are you using it as fuel to take action? These are the questions that separate dreamers from achievers. Because the truth is, most people will hear this message and change nothing. But a few will take action, and those few will change their lives. Which one will you be? The person who waits, or the person who moves forward? If you've learned something valuable today, don't let it go to waste. Start now. Build the habits, develop the mindset, and take the small steps that will lead to massive success in the future. Comment below and tell me, what is the one insight from this speech that impacted you the most? I want to know which lesson hit you the hardest. And remember, whenever you need motivation, come back to this video and watch it again. Let this be the reminder that your time is your greatest asset. If you don't subscribe now, you might never find this channel again. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and make sure you don't miss any future lessons like this one. And if you're ready to take your journey even further, watch the next video, Jack Ma's Success Formula. Do this and get rich. Your future self will thank you.